There's a lot to unpack here in the international section of the news this morning. Joining me is the Admiral James Stavridis, the former Supreme Allied Commander of NATO. He's also MSNBC's Chief International Security and Diplomacy Analyst. Also with me is Bobby Ghosh, the editor and columnist at Bloomberg Opinion and the former editor-in-chief of the Hindustan Times. Good morning, gentlemen. Thank you both for joining us. Bobby, you have written recently that Iran's losing the public relations war. Right? People in Iran and outside are protesting and criticizing Iran in a way that hasn't been seen before. To some, that would be good news. To others, when you see a country cornered, as we're watching with Russia and Ukraine, the bad stuff really comes out.
Well, with Iran, Ali, the bad stuff has been coming out in a near constant stream for a very, very long time. We don't feel it this far away from Iran, but if you ask Iran's neighbors, they'll tell you that they're constantly being undermined, or there have been constant efforts by the Iranian government using proxies, using drones, using missiles to attack targets in Iraq, to create sort of instability in Saudi Arabia, in the United Arab Emirates, to support rebel movement in Yemen, to keep the political situation in Lebanon constantly off balance. So with Iran, the bad stuff keeps happening all the time. Of course, as you say, when a regime is with its back to the corner, it might tend to be a bit more aggressive still. And we are dealing now in Iran with a hardline regime within the context of Iranian politics. The guys currently in charge are to the right, far to the right of those who were previously in charge. So these are especially aggressive folks. It's always hard to know when you're dealing with people like that whether you should be damned for doing something or damned for not doing something. And that's the challenge for the Biden administration. Yep. That's the challenge for the West, for the wider world. My instinct would be better to be damned for doing something, to support the protesters, to support the pro-democracy aspirations of the Iranian people, rather than doing nothing.
Tough situation, though, for the Biden administration and the West, Admiral, because this is an administration that wanted to undo the damage that the Trump administration had done by pulling out of the Iran nuclear deal. But Iran is making it very difficult for the United States to have any sympathy for its position, both with the stuff that's going on that Bobby and I just talked about inside Iran and with the arming of Russia with these drones, and now the assistance to Russia in building these drones. These drones have arguably been one of the most effective things the Russians have used in this invasion of Ukraine.
They absolutely have. And newsflash, unmanned vehicles are here to stay. You're going to see them as very, very important components. And when I say unmanned vehicles, Ali, I don't mean just these drones, which have been incredibly important, but it's really unmanned vehicles from space, the intelligence linked together with those high altitude surveillance drones, the tactical one you're showing right now, and then linked to surface activities, and frankly, out at sea as well, down to the bottom of the ocean. So this is a new wave in warfare. What you're seeing is two pariah states, Russia and Iran, joining forces, frankly, with North Korea, a third pariah nation, to explore the outer edges of warfare in this horrific thunderdome that they have created in Ukraine. We're going to see more horrific high-tech, and then finally, Ali, we're going to see this continuing air war directed against the electric grid, the water, the power plants, potentially the nuclear sites. There's another word for that, two words. It's war crimes. Watch for those to continue as well. Two awful features of this war.
And I want to talk about that, Bobby, the war crimes issue, because Russia's been attacking fuel depots and electrical generating stations in Ukraine, making the argument that these are instruments of war. Now, let's just be clear. Ukraine has declared no war on Russia. And in fact, in Russia, you can't even say it's a war. So there's no war to hide behind in this case. But more importantly, they're attacking these fuel centers in Lviv, in Kyiv, in places like that are hundreds of miles from any kind of battle line. To the Admiral's point, there are a lot of people in the world who say these are just war crimes. These are terrorist acts. You are just terrorizing the civilian population, which in a country like Ukraine in winter without power is meaningful.
Absolutely. I don't think there can be any doubt about this. There's plenty, and there are organizations that are in real time documenting these war crimes. It is unquestionably a war crime when you're specifically targeting civilian targets to create a sense of terror. And Ukraine is down to less than 50% of its electricity generating capacity just as winter begins to bite. Let's not also forget, they're attacking hospitals where the sick and wounded are being, the largest hospital in Ukraine was attacked recently. And we're seeing a repetition of tactics that at least two of the three actors we're talking about, Iran and Russia, used similar tactics in Syria. Have done for more than 10 years. Syria has been a sort of, if you like, a laboratory of all these tactics of killing civilians in order to intimidate an entire population. And there's plenty of documentation there too. The question is, what do you do with this documentation? What can you do with Russia, which is a member of the United Nations Security Council, enjoys veto power there? So what if we've collected all this evidence? Does the world have the will at the moment, when the moment comes, to impose justice upon Russia based on this flagrant violation of everything that we hold dear? Geneva Convention, out the window. Yep. Morals, ethics, out the window. This is clear terrorism. What are we going to do about it?
So, Admiral, and Bobby makes a really good point. War crimes experts have said if you can't arrest somebody and you can't hold them to account, nothing can happen. But the war can be won, the war that Russia doesn't call a war, and is being arguably won with the support of NATO. But there are, as I mentioned, some Republicans in the House who are saying we're going to curtail some of the support that's going to Ukraine. As the expression goes, that dog probably won't hunt, because there are far more people in America who believe that not only should the level of support for Ukraine continue, but possibly be increased. The only justice that may come is that Russia may be defeated in this conflict.
Yeah, let's stipulate, agreeing with everything you said, Ali, there are really two wars being fought right now. One is on the ground, and you're absolutely correct. The Ukrainians are on the march. The Russians are on their back foot. There's a second war. It's the war in the air. It's the drones. It's the long-range strikes. It's the blitz bombing of London in the 1940s war. That one, the Russians are winning right now. So I think our smart move in the West would be continue what we're doing to facilitate the victories the Ukrainians are enjoying at the moment on the ground, but up the game in terms of air defense. That means better, longer-range air defense missiles, potentially aircraft, MiG-29s from Poland, F-16s from the U.S. The Ukrainians can fly them. They've shown that they can fly bravely. Help them close the skies over Ukraine. I think that's the quickest path to a negotiation, because in a sense, that's one of Vladimir Putin's last cards, is this terror bombing campaign. If we can shut that off, couple that with the victories on the ground, we're on a path to a negotiation.
Gentlemen, thanks for being with us this morning. We appreciate it. A lot to cover. Admiral James Stavridis is the former Supreme Allied Commander of NATO. Bobby Ghosh is an editor and columnist at Bloomberg Opinion. He's the former editor-in-chief of the Hindustan Times.